You're listening to Ignite Your Success, a podcast that inspires fitness professionals to build a strong business that enables them to serve more people and engineer the lifestyle they desire. It's Brad Shepherd here, and together with Jason Ubanowicz, we're best known for running Trainer HQ, a community of passionate and profit-hungry fitness business owners that make a massive difference in others' lives every day. Each episode will unpack for you exactly what's working and deliver best practice strategies so you can confidently grow your business and make a huge impact. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Trainer HQ podcast. And today I'm joined by one of our very special VIP Trainer HQ clients, Mel Gregory. Welcome, Mel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Bloody brilliant to have you along. Now, you run the Pride.
I do,
the Pride Fitness.
The Pride Fitness.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Based in the Gold Coast.
We are.
Yep. But we're going to unpack your story and your journey because there's so many moving parts to it in the fitness industry, and I'm keen to sort of share your journey because others who are listening into this can, I guess, tune into it and sort of say, okay, cool, yeah, I can understand what you're going through at that point in time because I've experienced it myself. But the big thing that you've strived towards is to really create your hybrid model, which is now turning into fully online, correct?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, which has been more a recent thing, hey?
It has. Recent as in, last 3 or 4 weeks.
How
which
good.
Is very exciting. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's backtrack a bit. So you didn't just start in the fitness industry. So roughly what year did you launch into the industry?
So, look, I've been in the industry for about a decade now. Before that, I was in the corporate space, I think executive assistant, event coordination and so on. But about 8 or so years ago, I invested in a gym back down in Hobart. Please don't judge me. I'm hiding the scar very well. I now call myself a Queenslander. Went into a gym with my then partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And prior to that, had you investing in the gym? Was that your first introduction to the fitness industry, or had you already had dabbled in the industry? Or
yeah, so I had been a trainer for about a year or so before that, and I was sort of juggling, the corporate space, working full time, and then finishing up there and going to the gym and working with my clients, and I was doing that for quite some time. And then, as we all need to do at some stage, I had to cut that cable and decided what it was, that I was going to take that leap, similar to what I've just done now with my business. So moving into the PT space 100%. And then it was that next step into the gym space as well. Yeah,
and thinking back to that, because we have quite a number of clients who come through and they are working a full-time job. Lots of people tuning into the podcast who will be in that very position going, okay, I'm in your position exactly. I'm getting a full-time salary. I've got all the benefits, all the rest of it. I've started as a PT. Maybe I've got a couple of clients here and there. Are there any words of advice or wisdom that you can give to somebody who's in that position?
Oh, goodness. It's one of the things, we look at all the big accomplishments that we have in life, and most of it comes from that discomfort, taking that step outside the comfort zone and, having to let go of something, that safety net, that comfort of something that we know in order to grow. I guess it's just leaning into that discomfort and knowing that it's going to be, challenging, but challenging for the good because, what we water will grow.
Love it. Yeah. That's great. Such good insight. Now, you're in the gym now, so you've invested in the gym. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the gym experience as being a gym owner.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So anyone who's owned a gym or owns a gym will know the amount of work that goes into it. It's all, shiny and glorified and so on, but there are a lot of hours that go into it. And, you've got the overheads, of course, of having an actual gym, but then the staffing and the actual time and all this, but very rewarding, don't get me wrong. Moving into the gym space, our gym was in I guess you could call it like a country suburb off Hobart. We're quite successful, really great community. Everyone was very connected there, and we were quite successful in growing that. It started as just a class and PT studio, so very small, and as we grew, we turned it into 24/7 and expanded that way.
Yeah, wow. And this must be back in, I'm trying to join the dots, 2015, 16 thereabouts?
Yeah, it's about 2016
Yeah.
onwards.
Yeah, wow. And so you're in that on that journey for a couple of years?
Yep, we were in that gym. Well, I was in that gym, should I say, for a couple of years.
Yep.
And it was rewarding. Met a lot of great people.
Yep.
And learnt a lot.
Yeah, sure. And why'd you leave?
There's the question. There it is. So I went into that gym with my then partner, and it was, in hindsight, as I love to do, is to learn from situations. There were a lot of mistakes that I made. I went for trust over intelligence, and that being like actually looking at the numbers or looking at the actual, or setting myself up for success as an individual rather than just giving full trust into, everything that was at hand. And unfortunately that went south very abruptly, and yes. I decided to leave that gym quite suddenly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we divulge?
Yeah, you may as well.
Okay. It turns out, and here's a little bit of advice for everybody. If you do go into business with your partner, perhaps know that person through and through, for one. It turns out that person was very untrustworthy on many levels in our relationship, for one. And, unfortunately he was, let's just say his clients were getting a lot more bang for buck for their sessions. So as I'm sure you can imagine, I wanted to exit that quite.
Yeah, so not a great situation. So
not ideal.
Were you from Tassie? Is that like where you're from?
Yeah, well, I was born in WA, but grew up in Tassie. Yeah, 27 years of my life. So
so now you're in your effectively your hometown, and it's like, sounds like that was a pretty challenging situation for you personally and in business. Yeah,
look, it was. If I look at my life, I'm now 36, but if I look at my life as a whole, that was definitely one of the biggest life quakes that's happened. In literally the space of a day, finding out a heap of things that nobody wants to ever see or hear about, and having your entire life shifted not for the positive, knowing that the business was going to look very different, my career was going to look very different. Obviously, a lot of the relationships that I had were going to look very different, not only in the gym but outside, because we have, of course, had joint friends. And then, of course, the financial repercussions that came with that and the separation in business. It was quite brutal, and it took quite some time to process that and work through that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that, you mentioned the financial part. You were talking to me before we went live to say that it put a dent in that for you. Yeah,
that's an understatement. I always said, and it turns out, I think that Dwayne Johnson wrote a book like this or something, but if I was to ever write a book, I'd call it $7, because that's how much I had in my account when I left Tassie, was $7. I had a lot of money ripped out from under me, including my dad's inheritance that I actually used to invest in the business as well. Of course, taking full responsibility for that. We have to take responsibility for things.
Yeah.
But, just looking at that situation, and I went from quite successful, quite, financially and from a career perspective, and thought I had everything set up, even in the relationship, and then for that just to have the rug pulled out from under me and being like, well, now I'm in this entirely new season and chapter of life. I've got no idea what this is going to look like. And I've got $7 in my account.
Yeah, wow.
I'm not quite sure what to do now.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I'm sure at the time it wasn't great. And I guess the way you describe it, no doubt you've done a lot of work and you've processed this, done a lot of work on yourself personally to be able to talk about it so freely.
Yeah, a lot of work internally, a lot of forgiveness, and, knowing that now in the position that I am, and there's been a lot of, jumping from chapter to chapter here, knowing where I am now, looking back in hindsight, it's knowing that happened for a reason, as cliche as that sounds, but that was the path that I needed to walk on to be to where I am now.
Yeah.
Because without that, I wouldn't be, grateful for where I am, but also be where I am.
Yeah, 100%. So such powerful. I'm sure we could just spend the whole podcast talking on that, unpacking all the different layers and levels, right? So,
yeah.
So you left Tassie. So where'd you go?
I went north. I chased the sunshine.
Hey.
Living in Tassie 27 years, anyone who's been to Tassie or has lived in Tassie will know it is brutal during winter, dark days, cold. So I went north. I was tossing up between Melbourne or Brisbane, Melbourne being a very safe space. My brother was living there at the time, but it was a very familiar space for me. I would have just been jumping from comfort to comfort. And my coach at the time lived in Brisbane, and she was like, come up there, come up to the sunshine. I was like, all right. So
done.
Here we go. Packed up my Navara, my 2 cats, the important
With your $7.
So my $7 for a sandwich on the way. Headed north to Brisbane.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Sweet. So you arrived here and then you got yourself into the fitness industry.
Yep.
Yeah, so you kept on doing some coaching and so forth?
Yeah. So we left, when I left Hobart, a lot of my clients still wanted to be coached by me. They, for me to suddenly leave, they were like, we still want to be part of, my group and what it is that I do. So that's where I actually started to develop my online coaching. And because my own coach at the time, my bodybuilding coach was an online coach.
Yeah.
She was able to sort of direct me into that as well. So
we're going back to 2018?
2018.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we, begun converting some clients into the online space, and hit Brisbane with a handful of clients.
Yep.
And that's about it. Not even a mattress.
And when did your bodybuilding journey start, or your physique competitions and so forth?
Yeah, again, about 10 years ago, I started competing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, so I started competing, would do back-to-back shows. When I when I moved to Brisbane, I decided I'm going to compete. Stuff everything that happened back in Hobart. I'm going to compete again, one last hurrah. So I actually, going through the breakup and the business split and going through everything like that. On top of that, I decided that I was going to compete.
Yeah, of course you do.
Of course. Yeah. Just like throw that extra thing in there. Like, life's challenging enough. Let's prep for a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
Actually went international for that. So I went to Dallas and to Las Vegas and
Holy
competed
shit.
over there. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it was at the time. It was really very challenging, and anyone who's competed will know how hard that can be. But it was the right thing to do at the time, because it was shifting that focus back onto, to me and some self-growth there. And
Yeah, phenomenal. I guess that, and as a result of that, that sort of also assisted you to be able to do what you do in terms of the online coaching and so forth.
Absolutely, yeah. So traveling, I was in the States for 6 or 8 weeks, and being online enabled me to actually continue working there.
Yeah.
And, coaching people whilst I was traveling and competing.
That's great. And so you had a good taste of it then, but you didn't continue, you've had a little break, right, from the fitness industry. So tell us about that whole bit.
So coming back to Brisbane, I decided that I needed to sort of shake things up and get my life back on order. So I did go back into the gym space sort of for a little bit while I was in Brisbane. But a few years ago, I decided that I just threw my hands in the air, and I'm like, I've just got to try some new things. I've got to see what else is out there. So I tried it. I've tried a lot of things. I've got my commercial skipper's ticket.
Oh, really?
Which
wow.
is, and it turns out I hate driving boats. So that was not the best move. I've delved into the acting world and the performing and, name it. I've done window cleaning. I've
love it. Not the high-rise window cleaning. Have you done that? Or
No, my palms sweat thinking about being at heights. But I've worked on boats, on boats as opposed to driving them. Don't like driving boats.
Yeah. So this is a whole period in this. Now we must be in 2019 through into 2020 and so forth, all through that era.
That's it.
That COVID time. What a great time to be alive, hey?
Yes. Time to be alive. I can't believe that it's almost 5 years.
Yeah, we're coming up to. Isn't that
crazy.
Amazing? Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, and meanwhile, you still had some online clients going, but just a handful. Is that right? So, because you're off dabbling in a few other sideline projects, and
that's it. Yeah, seeing if there's anything else out there for me, and having that that time to sort of explore and see if I'm still fitness or if there's something else.
Yeah.
Still keeping a handful. I'm talking 4 or 5 online clients have just been with me and just keeping them just chugging away.
Yeah.
Whilst delving into the other I do sing. I don't know how well, but I do. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, that's a really good story. I'm glad that you've asked that. So my whole family's musical. It's actually how my mum and dad met.
Oh, wow. That's
Mum's
cool.
a singer. She's a great singer. Like, close your eyes and picture like a white Whitney, and that's mum. And dad was always in music as well, but they met, at the Darwin Casino of all places.
Wow.
Dad's a guitarist, or was a guitarist. And then, flashback some years ago, I decided I wanted to get into singing. I've always played instruments, French horn, all that. And my dad was in a band. So he said, come along to practice and have a bit of a sing. So I did. And that was really cool to be able to have, that connection with my dad.
That experience,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And have those just jams, I guess. Have a jam. And then, unfortunately he died quite suddenly some years ago now. And that was a massive, if we look at life quakes like I discussed, it was, that was definitely the life quake of life.
Yeah.
Was his sudden passing. And continued, actually tell a fib, did not continue music after that, but have in recent times taken it back up for a variety of reasons. One being regaining a lot of the confidence that I feel like I lost during the last 8 years, and moving into that new season going, well, this is something that I actually really enjoy, and I had these really great experiences with my dad and so on. So
what a gift! How beautiful that you're able to have those memories and those moments as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and they are a gift. Yeah,
that's sweet.
Yeah.
So when did you hang up the high heels and the bodybuilding bikini? What year?
Well, that was 2018. Yeah, it was.
Okay. So you hit the top, you hit international stage, and then you're like, all right, I'll retire while I'm at the top.
Yeah, I like wine too much. I'm throwing them out. No. So competed Dallas, went to the world stage in Las Vegas, and then came back and just decided that I just needed to just retire that, even temporarily, just hang those heels up for a bit, focus on some other things like eating and regaining some body fat.
Partying a bit.
Just enjoying life a bit for, temporarily. I did dabble in the idea of going back to bodybuilding a few times, but for me at the time, it's a not now thing, I think, for me. Now, even right now, it's not, I've shifted my own personal focus from purely aesthetic, which is the bodybuilding. Like, they don't care. The judges do not care how much you lift or
That's right,
how great you're feeling or how fast you are. They just care how you look.
That's right.
And that in itself is very subjective as well.
Very subjective, because you got a panel of 7 or 9 judges, and it's their opinion, and of course they're educated in the area. But
so it's very subjective. It's quite brutal. Again, shifting into this season that I'm in now, it's more performance driven. It's like, let's see what this body can do. That's exciting. Going back to the body, but my last time I stepped on stage was 1995, and when I did that, I said, I'll definitely go back one day. Next year will be 30 years. There's still hope. There's still time. Come on. Do you think you'd ever compete again?
I don't know. I would never say never to anything.
Agreed.
But last time I did an Ironman, I said, all right, I've definitely got another one in me at some stage, but that's coming up to 20 years ago. So
well, maybe you can join me next year. Come on, TikTok.
But it's cool, to have that. But it's great. You look back on all those moments, and what a great, learning, everything you go through to do all that, which is pretty cool. Hey. Yeah,
absolutely. All those, the learnings and the challenges and the times when you think that you were just completely down and out and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's actually what is getting you across that line to that new season and that, that.
Well, it builds strength and resilience and character and,
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I was thinking on the drive up here, terrible drive up here, by the way, everybody.
From the Gold Coast.
The M1. My goodness, throwing a bit of rain.
Oh, people, see, it doesn't rain that often in Queensland, does it? But when it does, people freak out, don't they? They got no idea how to drive.
They do. Well, they do into each other. And that's why I was almost late. So lost my train of thought. I'm stuck on the M1.
It was definitely a good one.
Yeah.
I guess what I was about to say next was you've been through this chapter, singing, acting, driving boats, doing all this stuff. something something called you back into the fitness industry. So when was it that you sort of, I guess, decided to go, all right, I'm going to go back in a full-time capacity?
Yeah, I was training myself at a gym in Mermaid Waters on the Gold Coast with my now husband and so on, and we picked up our own training a lot more than what it was. And I think through that I discovered, realised that wanted to get back into coaching people more full time. Probably that and the fact that I discovered that I just don't like driving boats and all this.
Yeah.
But look, anyone who is a coach or has been in fitness will know how rewarding it is from a personal level. And for me, that's just, that's the pinnacle. It's being able to coach people to be better themselves, but again, not just physically, but mentally as well. I'm big for, physical fitness for mental fitness. And it's actually, if we flash back years ago, I'm talking the dark ages, back in my teenage years, it was actually how I personally got into fitness. I never used to be a fitness person. I was my idea of exercise was walking to my car the next day after a big night out and maybe walking that little bit further to go to Hungry Jack's and getting a stunner meal. True story. And back at that time in my life, I was severely unhealthy, physically, mentally, wasn't in a really good state at all. And I was given some advice at the time to maybe start exercising, and me not knowing anything about exercise. I was the girl in high school who always had a period, so couldn't do exercise, which is not a reason not to do exercise, by the way. You can still train at that time of the month, girls. When someone said to me, try exercising to improve my mental state, I was like, I don't really understand that, but okay, let's try that. And that's where it sort of all snowballed, because as I lost the physical weight, the mental weight loosened up as well and got lighter. So it's sort of how I build my business, and my coaching model now is to incorporate the physical fitness and the mental fitness. Yeah, because they both correlate so strongly.
So good, hey! It's so transferable, and it just you look at all the things that you do, and you go, there's got to be that connection, that correlation between the two. So
100%. Yeah.
Is there, with the name The Pride Fitness, has that got a backstory to it?
Yeah, I love cats. I love cats. I'm obsessed with cats. I've got a sleeve of tattoos. I've got 3 cats so far on my arm. So for me, when I was building my business and my business name, I was like, has to incorporate cats. Has to. So the Pride Fitness, and then there's the concept around a lion's pride, that being that, camaraderie and that connection and that community. Yep.
That's a big old cat there.
Yeah. The big kitty.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So the Pride Fitness.
So when was it that you went back in this full-time capacity? Roughly how long ago?
So what do we? Let's say 20 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so just over a year
not quite 2 years. Yeah. And it's been quite an interesting journey, because like we were saying at the start of this, you've now got yourself in a position where you can pull back from face to face, and really the main part of your business and your revenue is online.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about the journey, and how did that start, and the transition and so forth.
Yeah, sure. So I was in the gym full time for about 12 months before I stumbled, shall we say, across Trainer HQ.
Yeah.
The stumbling was thanks to a mate of mine, Sean.
Yep. Sean Maftunian, he's a legend, isn't he, that guy?
He is, and I still to this day can't pronounce his surname, so thank you for clarifying.
Shout out to Sean.
Hey, Sean. Sean had business coaches before in the past, and so when he was talking about Trainer HQ and what it is that you do, and he only had great things to say, I was like, there has to be something in this, and that's when I started exploring what you had to do. But the reason I was exploring Trainer HQ was because my business, I knew if nothing changed, and my business was going. I say that it was flatlined. It wasn't flatlining. It was going south. There was just nothing growing within my business, and I was really stuck as to how to get that back on track. And there's so many external influences on ideas on what to do, and it's like, well, what direction do I go, and what's best for me personally? How do I make this fit me and my model. So I knew I needed help in order to grow. From that point in time, I knew I wanted to grow the online again because just before I came on board with Trainer HQ, we had a bit of an overseas holiday with the family. So my now husband has 4 children.
4? Oh, wow. How cool.
Yeah, cool. So he brings the kids, I bring the cats to the family.
Yeah.
But we had this amazing overseas holidays, and the kids had such a great time. We had such a great time. Like, it was just amazing. And, you know, entering the new year, that being 2024, having had that experience as a family, it was like, I want to create something for us and our family and our life where we aren't stuck, and that feeling of stuck. And for me, this is me, you know, being on the gym floor at 4:30, 5 or 6 days a week for an indefinite amount of time, to me, that feels stuck. And it might not to other people, I get that.
Yeah.
But for me, that wasn't ideal. And then I look at like my husband, who also runs his own company. He's in construction. And for him, it's like he's working these crazy long days. He's destroying his body. Like, he comes home and he's just wrecked, you know, just moving timbers and everything all day, physically, mentally. And it's like, what can I do to create this life for us? And for me, it was growing that online platform and really watering that plant.
Yeah.
For me and for my family. Yeah.
Such a great cause, a great purpose, a great reason, right?
Yes.
Big enough, that's the thing, hey, for a lot of people, there's not a big enough desire or enough dissatisfaction, you know. So, and again, you probably had a blend of both, right? So it's like, all right, well, this, where you're at, you're going to don't want to be there forever. It's great, serving a purpose, but it's like, what's the desire? What do I want this to look like, which is cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You mentioned Sean briefly. He'd been through a few business coaches. He's had some pretty shoddy ones. One of them, well, you might not be aware of this, but one of them jumped on one of our webinars and tried to steal from us, which I just want to make a side note of that. But we're over it, by the way. You know,
no bad feelings. Yeah, I'm sensing that from you.
Just every time this person's name gets brought up in the company, we like to just remind this person that they entered our webinar.
We know.
Messaged all of our people to come and join their page. But anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah, we'll park that to the side. Won't name names at the moment. We've already done that bit. So
I have to go Google that one.
Back over to this journey for you. So you are now predominantly, talk about your income level and so forth, like the majority of your income is coming from face-to-face, and then the smaller portion from online, like even 12 months ago?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So online, you know, anyone listening can't actually see my hands. I talk a lot with my hands, so there's a whole other story going on with my hands at the moment.
We got YouTube clips as well, so you can tune into the YouTube clip. You see the hand gestures.
Like, go watch out for my water. So yes, online was quite low. The face-to-face, you know, was the main source of income for my business. And what I wanted to do was entirely flip that on its head. So initially to look at, I was like, wow, there's a lot of work that needs to go on here. Yeah. To get that flipped.
And what are you talking? Maybe it was an 80-20 or something? 80% was coming from face-to-face and 20% from online? Or
yeah, look, even less. I'd say
so
10
90-10. Yeah. And that's not uncommon because, again, I guess you know, thinking about all the people who are tuning into this, who are in that situation, and we do speak to a lot of people who are going, yeah, I'm doing face-to-face, I enjoy it, I get a lot out of it. However, I don't want to be the trainer who does 40 or 50 sessions a week to achieve my income goals and targets.
That's it.
You know, for some people, they might say, okay, for me, my ideal week is 20 sessions a week. That means I can service 30 online clients or whatever package they're offering. For others, it might be I want to do 10 face-to-face sessions a week and more online. And others like yourself are striving towards, you know, completely online.
That's right. Yeah. And 100%. Another thing, like when I came on board with Trainer HQ, it was looking at what I was actually like the value, like the monetary value I had for like charging clients and so on.
Yeah. Because
for me, like I was well undercharging. So from a scalability, even if I was to stay in the face-to-face space, I was on a really good path to burnout.
Yeah.
Because I could never scale my business knowing, you know, with my price points the way that they were and what it is, you know, the time for money.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to be a very healthy space to be in for myself.
And by the sounds of it, that was one of your early action tasks you did, was started to adjust all that in terms of your rates and fees.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Which meant that you could earn more for the time that you exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was that received across the board?
Oh, look, for me, it was quite scary. I put all these stories in my head that I was going to be met with, like resistance from my clients, and that they're going to leave. They're all going to leave. I'm going to be up the creek, but that absolutely wasn't the case at all, you know. And we were able to, like, even though I was watering the online space, like my PT space also, the income there grew without actually having to grow my client base.
100%.
So income was growing, but the actual time invested was dropping, which is... We call
it hidden money. Everyone in business, you got hidden money, and it's like sitting right under your nose. It's right in front of you, and usually because we're in business, we're doing our own thing. We're just locked into our daily grind, right? So, and it's like from someone from the outside walking in and go, "Hey, man, why don't you adjust this, change this?" And for most people that we do this with, $200, $300, $400 a week of immediate change in revenue.
It's amazing.
Which is a game changer, right?
100%.
And that's quick. It's quick wins,
And it can only it's just like those small, doesn't have to be, $300 or $400 from like one client. It's
that's
like
right.
Just a little bit from all of them. It really all adds up. And it can, as you say, it's game changer.
Yep. So things have been moving along well this year. So this has all happened in this year. So we're now recording this getting towards the end of November. And so you've been able to actually physically leave the gym, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that journey, and when did you make that decision and all the rest of it?
So that was always the BHAG. That was the big, hairy, audacious goal, was to be 100% online, leave the gym space and focus on that. So when I came on board with Trainer HQ, that was, the target. That was what's written on my vision board. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But I guess when we got to that point, when I was working, speaking with Kate, we got to that point where it's like, right, it's time to do it. Let's get out the scissors. Let's cut it.
Yeah.
And that's when the stories started. You're not going to make it. You're in your safe space. Stay there. Why are you giving this up? You've got this safety net of those, you've got all these clients. You're making this amount of money with your face-to-faces. Why would you give that up? These are all stories that I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
And there were a lot. So, it was working through them and to quieten those, what could have very well been roadblocks to me. That could have very easily just gone, oh no, you're right, and just not taken that plunge. And then I would have been giving up on what my actual goal was, and that was to be online.
Yeah.
So, bless the gym world. We had to give the 3 months notice.
Yeah, yep.
So you can't fart without giving 3 months notice at the gym. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Gave that 3 months notice, and then spent 3 months mostly just working through what was going on up here, like all the stories and the fears that are uncovered. I think business is the best self-development course you can take.
You know it. Yeah. We say it all the time. It's the best personal development program on the planet, because it's going to bring up and present to you and smear in front of your face everything you need to get better at and need to grow with.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you would have experienced a lot of that. So when was your final day? You're at the gym?
Well, I think it was like the 8th of November.
Oh, wow. Just a few weeks ago. How good.
Yeah. It's 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That's great. So how's life on the other side?
Life's great. It's really good. It was very bittersweet leaving the gym space, because, I had to have that conversation with my clients as well, and did convert quite a few as well, which was great. But I think what a lot of people may misunderstand, the difference between face-to-face personal training and online coaching. So there is quite a different, there's a difference between the two.
Sure.
Like, you've got like your actual workout, like personal training, here's a session type thing. And then you've got your coaching, which one of the reasons I love the coaching is because it is more in depth, and it's not just the 45 minutes or whatever, or 30 minutes that you're spending with a client.
Yeah.
It's like actually structuring and like working through, much like what Train HQ does, it's actually like growing.
Systematic approach to it.
Yeah, that's right. Having to have that conversation with clients, as I said, quite a few did come across.
Sure.
Some of them just wanted to continue on, which I totally respect. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then saying sayonara, saying What am I saying? That one. Sayonara. Saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's great.
Watching
That's
my
so
face
cool.
get ripped off the PT wall. That was nice.
And income wise, you've been able to increase your revenue. So where are you currently sitting at the moment?
Yeah, so in this time when we left, so when we started 9 odd months ago with Trainer HQ, we were able to bring it up to, what did we work it out to be? It was in the 6 figures to bring it up.
Yeah.
Leaving the gym space, we've had a bit of a cut, just a little bit, just as we come down, and now we're growing it back up to that
sweet.
again. So still in that 6 figure.
Yeah.
My foot's cramping. So the joys of training.
Yeah. So that $2,000 a week mark thereabouts, which is a great outcome.
Yep, easy. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. But more importantly, it's you being able to fulfill your mission and your desire on what, your true purpose and what you want to do.
That's exactly right. And so, for me, this is going to sound so corny, but let's just say it. So for me, it was about creating that miracle morning. It's like structuring our morning so that we're not rolling out of bed, dropping F-bombs because we've got to rush out the door and we're late, forgetting, that rushed, horrible start to the day type thing. For me, it was like waking up, starting with movement, starting with prayer, starting with my husband, and being able to create those mornings. And as I was thinking about today and sitting here having this podcast with you, it was like yesterday morning, I literally had that.
Yeah.
Like started my day with tick, 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 all those things. And it was like,
that's
wow,
great.
that's what life's about.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing. Hey, and I guess congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And it just goes to show what's possible to achieve in a short space in time, right? Because you're on the journey with us at Trainer HQ. You're still inside your first 13-month business coaching program, right? So you started at early this year. What are we, 9 months into the journey, thereabouts together, and you can see what's possible to do.
Yep.
Going from 90% of face-to-face, 10% online, to now completely flip the model the other way.
Yep.
To being able to put yourself in that position where you can do all that. But more importantly, the income and all that, that's great. But what I hear is when you say the miracle morning, that's the benefit, that's the outcome, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's creating that, creating that life and that, that routine and that those days for yourself and what that actually looks like and what that means as well. And look, like me sitting here going like I've got these great mornings and everything's good. Like this year's been challenging. Like we've worked through a lot. It's all come for the better. Like you've got to work through those challenges because just like back in Hobart and just like I'm sure everyone's experienced to a degree, it's like if you can just let a challenge just let it consume you and just not pursue what it is that you're actually wanting to do.
Yep.
But if you actually work through that and you welcome them, and I think with business, it's one of those things, entrepreneurship, whatever you want to call it, it's like, if you knew that you had to have 50 knockbacks and on that 51st was going to be a breakthrough, like that would just make you want those knockbacks so much more.
Yeah, come to me. Yeah.
And you just never know when that 51st or that 71st or whatever is going to come. Like you just need to know that it's coming if you keep welcoming the no's and the knockbacks and the challenges. So, yeah.
Phenomenal. I take it your coach, Kate Kendall, would have been an integral part of assisting you on this journey.
That is an understatement again in itself. Kate is incredible. She is just, I mentioned before about business being like a self-development course or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Kate she's the conductor. Like she will just tear bits off you and just make you like help you grow. And, she's had such an impact on me, just not for my business. It's evident what it's meant for my business being in this program, but it's also like from a personal level, like it's reflecting on the last 9 months and this year. And I love reflecting, like Facebook memories, right?
Yeah.
How good are Facebook memories?
They're phenomenal.
They're so cringe.
Yeah.
But you look back at, 12 months ago or, this time 2 years ago, and you're just like, wow, look at the person I was.
Yeah.
And then I look back like 12 months ago and I think, wow, look at what we've done this year.
Yeah.
What that's meant. And Kate's played such a huge role in that.
Yeah.
You did well with that one, matching us together, matchmaker.
She's good. She's a keeper, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Shout out to Kate.
Yes. Hey, Kate.
So good. And you get to meet because you never met face to face. Like
Never.
Next week we're going to be together on the Gold Coast for our big Inspire event. So
Yes.
that's cool.
I'm very, very, very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. That's it.
Black
So
that one out of my calendar.
Yeah, something where, like for us, 18 years of doing this, and you look at the team we've built. We're currently at 14 business coaches who deliver the lion's share of the coaching and consulting work, and just so much talent, so much experience, and the people there. So we just get to watch it. These stories, we get to hear them consistently from 14 times ex-clients, like 200 odd clients a year, which is amazing,
Yeah.
which is super cool.
Sean actually said, I was chatting with him yesterday, and he said that Inspire last year was what actually propelled him to take the steps that he's taken in his business for this year.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, this should be interesting. I'm wondering what this is going to do for me in my business.
Yeah, it's so cool, super cool. He's an action taker, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And speaking of action taking, you don't fuck around in the physical training side of things either. Like, so bodybuilding stage, all that sort of stuff. Now, what's the latest fitness journey? Because there's a few things you're doing, isn't there?
Oh my goodness, it baffles me. So bodybuilding for years.
Yep.
Love my weights, but beginning of this year, and I think, it was actually in line with about the same time that I came on board. So there's a big shift for me in seasons, like personally and business wise.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to get to my birthday in May and be the fittest, fastest, healthiest, strongest version of myself. I'm like, what does that actually look like? Well, it's probably not doing what I've been doing, like lifting weights. Look, got some decent shoulders on me, and that's, but not very fit at all. So I decided to start running, as most people in their 30s are doing these days. It's like taking up the running.
Yeah.
Couldn't get 3Ks without stopping, just dying. The taste of metal in my mouth, and like, have I got asthma? I can't breathe. This is terrible. Why am I doing this? And I was like, this is painful. Let's keep going. So I did, and I just kept running, and did my first half marathon in July.
Yep, awesome.
And then thought, what else can we do? So anyway, in 2 days, I'm doing my first ultra marathon.
I love it. How good.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very nervous.
What's the distance?
50K.
That's huge. That's awesome.
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive, and
obviously plenty of training leading up to this, like lots of kilometres in the bank, eh?
Lots of kilometres in the bank. Lots of injuries. Lots of trips to the physio.
Yep.
Lots of lots of tears, snotty tears. I walk in the door and like to my husband, I've got like snot coming out of my face. Like, what am I doing? He goes to me, he's like, we knew this was going to be hard. This is what hard feels like. I'm pretty certain David Goggins said that. Thank you, babe.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's happening in a couple of days.
Couple of days
How
doing
good.
that, and actually doing like raising funds for the AWL as well. So
great. Be a decent day at the office, that one for you.
Yeah. We're looking 5 or 6 hours on the legs.
Yeah, love it.
Which will be a bit of fun. And then just to throw it in the mix, I'm also training for an Ironman next year. So following in your footsteps.
Sounds like our paths are very closely, similar.
Very, very aligned. Yes.
Yeah. It's a thing. Hey, from my perspective anyway, it's like just doing the stuff, especially as an ex-bodybuilder, it's like, hey man, people like you aren't meant to run marathons and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah. Watch me. And I actually remember, it's funny you say that, I remember when I started running and I had multiple people say to me, it's not a good idea. I had one person say it's dangerous. I was like, dangerous? I'm not playing with firecrackers. Like, I'm running. And yes, look, I've had my injuries and I run like the Terminator. I've got terrible, working through the physical challenges of it. But that's one of the reasons it's like, I shouldn't be doing this apparently. I'm going to go and do it. Thank you. Watch
That's
me.
Cool. Even better that you've now engineered your ideal business model as well, because Ironman, what are we talking, 20 to 30 hours a week of training, but through all the 3 disciplines. So.
And juggling, it's like juggling training, like obviously business training, and then hair washes, and when I get my Botox done, it just doesn't align. They don't align. But no, it is a juggling act. But it's it's good, I think, as well, to be challenging yourself as a business person in these new disciplines or new ventures.
That's right.
It rubs off on your clients. Like I've got clients now who I'm going like, okay, okay, team, what are we doing 2025? And people are like, I want to start running.
Yeah.
Like my 72-year-old mum's like, I'm gonna run next year. I was like, good on you.
That's right. And if it's the 5K fun run or whatever,
100%,
it's like, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. I've got one client. She's in her 50s. She's doing a triathlon next year as well.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool. So I think it's really important that what you do reflects and like,
you lead by example, right? You walk your talk, you get out there, and it's super cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the growth of your and you building your online business and so forth. So you're no stranger to putting yourself out there on social media, but you'd mentioned to me that you had a few moments where you're putting stuff out there, and maybe it wasn't seen by as many people as you would have liked. Like, unpack that part for us and for everyone listening in who might have had this experience.
Social media, it's I had a really love-hate relationship with that for so long, and I went through a big stage of being like, I hate social media, and it was more so from the pressure I was putting on myself for having to make content. The key word there is having to make content. We'll come back to that. But also because I was focusing on the crap. But we actually grow. We are responsible for our algorithms in the way that, if we're scrolling through our feed and we're seeing crap, it's because we're engaging with that crap. Like my feed now consists of cats, funnily enough, heap of triathlon, content, and worship content as well. So there's like, it's because I control that because of what I do, and knowing that, it's like there's so many, like social media is so powerful. How many times would you have the opportunity today, for example, listening to this, to stand in front of, say, 500, 1,000 people and to preach your word of like, and to talk about your business and to show others what you're about and to, show off your client successes and stuff? Like you wouldn't, but social media, you have that ability to do that.
It's a platform. It's a vehicle for that. That's right.
100%.
And you put 100 people in front of you. You stand them in front of you. That's a fucking lot of people,
There's a lot of people, yeah.
Take that to 300, 500, that's huge, right?
Yeah. And I think, social media can be quite daunting as well in the way that for that, it is a platform. It can be a positive platform as well, but it can also be quite a not great platform because, keyboard warriors, they're wanting to have their say. But I think if you just focus on that good and swinging back to what I said about having to post, it's like I actually get to share not only what my business is about, but my client successes and to help people as well. Like I can share my story about me learning to run and doing these events, and now people are going, oh, you've inspired me to run. And how great.
That's great. It's awesome.
And it's free for the most part.
And it's a lot of your personality comes through in that. I mean, I've seen, plenty of your stuff. So, you look very comfortable and very natural there. So it's, and again, it's, I guess you get to share what you're about, which is cool. Yeah.
I think it's really important, whoever you are, whatever your business is about, whatever message you're trying to, send to people, like you need to be authentic. I think because people, one, will tell, they will know if you're not authentic and it comes across a little, not great. But you've got to stay true to yourself. And your values and who you are. Like for me, and for anyone who's seen my socials, you'll be like scratching your head at parts going, why is she in a sink or why is she in a dog cage? Because that's just who I am. Like I just need that quirkiness, and my cats need to make an appearance. And
That's great. Where now, I bet you got some people's curiosity now. So where's the best place for them to come and check out Mel G's stuff?
Mel G. Sorry. Mel G. Instagram's probably
Instagrams. All right. What's the handle?
It's at Mel __G __. So double underscores.
Okay.
Mel G.
Mel
__.
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
__.
All right.
It's worth noting I'm not actually a Mel G anymore, but Mel H just does not have the same ring to it. Love my husband, but his name could have been better.
Oh, that's so cool. Any other, during this journey of moving more online, has there been any other insights or things that you've seen or, acknowledged or picked up on the way?
I think a really massive call out for me, and this is really evident this year, has been to understand your circle and who's actually got your back and who you're letting have your back as well. So for me, I think for so many years I was turning to people and asking for advice from people who didn't really have, I guess, the authority to be giving that sort of advice. but also maybe didn't have my best interests at heart as well. And so for me, it's like, who's actually in your circle? It's like, you know, your personal circle, of course, but also like your business circle. Who can actually help support your business and has your best interests at heart, and that's going to help you grow, not going to hold you back. And that was a real eye-opener for me this year. Yeah.
That's cool.
Just assessing what that looks like. And
yeah. It's phenomenal, the journey. How cool is it? Hey, like you think now for you, a decade in the industry, and you know, there's been so many amazing things, right? And to get you to the spot where you are now, and I guess moving into the future, it helps you just to keep engineering the exact ideal life, right?
That's exactly right. And just riding that roller coaster that is business, you know.
Yeah.
Enjoying the ups, but also enjoying the downs, because we know that it's going to come back up if you keep at it. Like,
what's going to happen? You know, motivation for anyone. There'll be days where you can be intrinsically highly driven, highly motivated, and similarly, if you've got a heartbeat, there'll be days, weeks even, where motivation could be low. You know,
but
when you're clear on that sense of direction, purpose, where it is that you're heading, then you know that you're always going to be moving into the pathway that you want to go.
That's exactly right. Yes. Yep.
And you mentioned that support crew, just so important. You know, that's for many people in the industry. There's professional loneliness, right? It's like for many, you're it, right? You're solo, independent business owner, head honcho, CEO, head of sales, marketing,
all the hats,
every single thing.
Hats. Yeah.
Plus you got to do the accounting. Plus you got to do all the whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, so
you're all the managers. That's right, and it can be really isolating, and you sort of feel like you're alone. But when you work with people that help you grow and have walked the walk as well, you know. We know that this is like even the power of a coach. It's like from a fitness perspective, but in business as well. There's so much power and value in having someone that's, you know, lighting the way with that torch. Yep, so cool. And I mean, you've now really cemented yourself into the Trainer HQ community. So we're like, sorry about that.
People
not going
like,
anywhere.
but people like you are like, they're our type of people, right? So,
good.
What's it been like being inside this type of group and this type of community?
Yeah. So okay, well, I'll start that by saying that when, like, flashback to the beginning of the year when I was considering coming on board on the back of conversations I've had with Sean, because he only had positive things to say about you. But for me, because of the position that I was in, and I'm always quite fearful of investments, any sort of, you know, my husband on the other hand is just like, let's buy trucks and boats. And I'm like, should we really be doing that? And I know that stems from, you know, back in from the gym.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So I was quite hesitant to come on board to begin with, just, you know, from that perspective. But knowing that, again, if nothing changed, this was make it or break it. I need to come on. So being part of the community, for me, it's a no-brainer. Like I'm already with you next year as well. And I haven't even told you, like, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, because the value that I've seen in not only Kate, like as my coach, but the community, all the events, the investment that you make in our growth and development and knowledge is just, it's I literally can't even talk. I've got no words for it. So for me, it's a no-brainer to have that circle.
Yeah.
To have that community.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Great to hear. And so cool. We love it. You know, it's why we do it. Right. So
you have my bank details for payment.
We got clients on that point. We got clients, and Aaron Smee's one that comes straight to mind. He's like, you know, do we have to keep having this same conversation like once a year? Can you just put me in the lifetime program? Like, 'cause I'm not going anywhere. Like, what's the point of us having the, oh, mate, you're going to keep going? You know, he goes, of course I'm going, you know.
Yeah, well, that's right. And like, you know, even looking into next year, you've got the event in Bali.
That's right.
Which super excited.
The best. Yeah.
That's
that's a whole nother level, that one. So you'll fit in well with that group. That's for sure. So I think we're all close to hitting 30 people there right now, which is super cool. So yeah.
No, so many just opportunities for growth. And again, only being 9 months into the journey or the whatever, however you want to word it, it's like, wow, what's what else? What's next year look like?
Yeah, so good. So I guess to wrap this up, I want to say a big from Trainer HQ, I know I speak on behalf of Kate and all of us here, that congratulations on what you've achieved. So you've been able to personify the goal of going, all right, face-to-face trainer, hybrid, now move fully online, which is super cool. So congrats on doing that, living out your dream, and more importantly, hey, here's to the future, hey?
Yeah, cheers to that. And look, a massive thank you to you and Kate and the Trainer HQ team as well, because as I said, it's a no-brainer. You've meant so much for me for this year, and I'm really excited for what the next year looks like as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing your story. I know this would have really resonated with many people out there, so I'm really happy to have you along. So once again, thank you, Mel G from The Pride Fitness.
Thank you.